Alright, welcome back. It is Sunday morning of NOLA Motorsports Park, round 2 with PanAmerican Superbike, and we are going out on our sighting lap. It is obviously very wet out there. It had just been raining all morning, and we were actually under lightning delay for pretty much the whole morning. We had gotten to get a couple practice rounds in. I was able to get a practice round in, and then they got delayed, and we were all just kind of waiting for a while. Tents blowing over, getting ruined. Finally get the okay to get back out there. I'm glad we were able to get the grand courses done on Saturday afternoon, so we didn't have to try to squeeze them in here. Because I had been out earlier, I was definitely glad about that. I at least kind of knew what the rains were starting to feel like, but also it had just dumped all over this track, and so there was new standing water everywhere. They had drove over it a bunch of times with the kind of crew vehicles trying to get some water off of it, but there are still puddles all over this place. So part of this is just, man, it's some of these spaces you just can't find a dry line through them, and other ones you're just kind of like, I'll take the one that's the least deep puddle. It's a little bit of an adventure. You can see there on the left side that kind of ridge down the middle of the pavement. When it's wet, man, you could feel that thing moving around on you, so you were trying as best possible to kind of stay off of that. This is all about being smooth, but getting your braking done early. You can see there's just like puddles you got to run through in the middle there, so I was really trying to like kind of pick where I was going, trying to drive around them, but then you're not getting a great line. Most of the apexes had water like kind of right in them, and so it's just a game of like, you're gonna have to go through puddles, try to get as straight up and down with the bike as you can before having to go through puddles. This one was bumpy, and obviously puddles right there, so you can't really trail brake anywhere around here. Here there's a deep puddle kind of in the apex. There's Tony in front of me, splashing me with water. It's gonna end up being a common theme here in this race. These are going to be the same grids as they were for the grand courses. So when you qualify, that's grand course and the sprint race. So I will be in 4th place again. So kind of top of that second row there. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm 3rd place. That's right. Because of the weather, a couple people dropped out. And so I got up a place, which was awesome. A bunch of us moved up one. So finally, actually, first front row start. And let's see what we can do with it. Rain race. There's Tony. We're both looking at each other like, what are we doing, man? We just did this in Miami and it was sketchy. More rain. Lights on. Lights out. And honestly, I was not upset by that start. Obviously, we, lose one place there, but overall, I mean, I felt like over the weekend, each start got a little bit better. It was certainly better than Miami, so that was encouraging. I felt like this was definitely a kind of tough one for me. I actually realized when I was gridding up, I was like, man, my helmet is fogging up a lot, and I had put on the clear visor for the rain race, totally forgot to switch over the pin lock system, so this, man, it was a little difficult to see this one. Can't get close to those apexes there. There was no dry line. I'm trying to get that leaning really lean off and really try to stand that bike up, push it up, get that thing straight up as you can, and try to get the power out. This one, again, I was trying to stay inside of those lines. There's a couple times I do run wider and try to take that line instead, but I did not like it. Through here, that kind of right-hander, and then this next right-hander, I felt like there was good grip. I felt like you could almost do the same as you were doing in the dry. The problem being is these puddles here. As soon as you come out of that thing, you got to get that bike straight up and then get through those puddles. These ones as well. This was a really hard one. There was a couple times during this race, I don't know if you can notice it from this helmet kind of view, but rear was definitely stepping out sometimes when you're accelerating through there. And then the other part was at one point, and I don't know how well you can see it on the video, but the front, I lose the front on it, and you could like just really kind of shook the bike a bit there, and we were able to keep it up, and that definitely takes some confidence out of you. Trying to go a little bit wider here because there is a lot of puddling here. I kind of really screwed that line up, but I was trying to intentionally go a little bit wider just so I could then pick up the bike sooner and get out of there, because those puddles were kind of like right as you're getting on the throttle, leaned over, and I wasn't trusting the reins too much. This area though, I actually felt like you could brake pretty hard. I think I started to brake and was feeling it out, and then realized you get to the apex and you really should have probably carried a little more speed through there. So that was good. Here, that was one area where you would lose or start to lose the rear a little bit because you're really leaned over and trying to kind of wind that power on. But you know, in a situation like that, it's also pretty easy to control. I feel like you have good feel there when you're applying the power in that way. It's some of the other ones where it's kind of, you know, heavy braking and then quick on the gas, that those start to get a little sketchy. Yeah, like once you got through there, I felt like there was a couple of these that you could take at speed there. I mean, you have to stay a little bit off that apex just so you don't clip that puddle kind of at the back side of that corner, but well, you just point a little bit wide, you were fine there. Big splashes. And then there's all those puddles there, and then this part was really hard for me to figure out the kind of dry space, but you kind of start to figure it out. And then these ones, these were pretty bad puddles, but I felt like, you know, some people tried to go around them a little bit. I ended up kind of taking the approach of just get the bike straight up and just kind of go through them. Here, this one being on the apex, I did start going wide, kind of following this guy's line. I felt like that worked a little bit better, or there may have been one where I went straight there and tried to hug the apex, and I realized I really wasn't gaining any time on him, and then you're kind of on the sketchy part of the track where it's wet, and so it's a little less predictable, so I went back to going wide through there. I felt like that was kind of the safer bet, and if not losing much time on him or gaining any time going the other way, might as well go with the safer route. Here we go, braking fairly hard, and making up some time there. There is that big puddle, so you gotta make sure you're really kind of released off of there by then. And then, yeah, this part is just get the throttle on, but really kind of in a very measured way. Which also then kind of makes this braking zone not quite as hard because you're not getting up to speed quite as much. And obviously, like in the dry, I'm really trail braking pretty deep into that corner. With this, like, you can't, because if you lose the front there, or at least I didn't feel like I could. Maybe the fast kids can. But Yeah, in the dry, I felt like I was trail braking pretty deep into that corner, and then you get probably the highest lean angle I felt like I got was in that corner in the dry, but then the wet is a little bit of a bummer because you can't quite take advantage of that as much. Trying to carry speed through there just to make up some time, but yeah, it's hard. And then those puddles kind of scared me a bit. And you could tell I was almost thinking there with the throttle. I was like, should we just like get on it and try to outbrake him? But man, that corner is not the one to deal with. This is the one where I kind of try to hug that inside line, but then realize there's no dry line, and then he's able to kind of get through there just as fast. And after that one, I was like, man, there's no point in risking it for that little amount of time, if any at all. Brakes again, and then kind of be off on pretty much a release by the time you get to all those puddles. And that's another one where the technique I was trying with the clutch and the dry, definitely try to almost over-exaggerate that in the wet. I try to get the inside line, the pass there, go deep. He's back through on me. I was, that might have been a little bit of a lunge there. Man. But yeah, I think I was still in the mindset of the drive from yesterday of like, break deep into that corner and then get it pointed and shoot out. But in the wet, you can kind of feel it. It really doesn't want to break deep into that corner. So you got to get all that braking done straight up. So went just way too deep there. Yeah, big bumps around that thing. Again, he goes wider there, staying off the puddles. I just went kind of straight. I don't know. As long as I was straight up and down, the puddles didn't scare me too much, but... and then he goes on that inside line that time, and I felt like, again, like no one gained or lost any time going either direction, so just stay on the dry line at that point. There we see going a little bit deeper. Again, just to try to get the bike up and straight up and down a little bit sooner. I don't know if I feel like I end up just having a bad line through there and then still don't get the bike up and down quick enough, but thinking about it, but no. Even here, I was like, oh, maybe we'll get him again, but not quite. If there's no room there, no need to dump it on double points weekend either. Like, I don't remember what we were in position-wise at this point, but because I didn't know. I mean, you can see that there's a couple other riders up there. I didn't know which ones were amateur or expert. Probably should have paid more attention to that in the beginning, but we were in reasonable position, so no need to crash out. so here we come up on some traffic. Traffic in the rain, man. Real sketchy. I almost thought there for a second he'd get caught up in some and I'd be able to get around the other side, and then all of a sudden he's through and I'm not. And this one I was like, I just gotta get through. Can't be losing time. And then yeah, I was staying all wide there, and then you kind of cut back in through those puddles. And then yeah, there, I mean, did not feel good coming out of that one. The front started to pick up the throttle a little bit. You can feel it really pushing out, so I just, you know, here we have a white flag. One more lap to go. Hard on the brakes, see if we can catch anyone. There goes the rear. Could hear that one. So then, of course, you're kind of timid. By then, you know, I had a couple moments throughout the race. That one was at least kind of noticeable. But there were other ones, I think, even coming out of that turn before the straight, front was not feeling good. You could tell the arrows going wide. I was really starting to have problems. Like, I don't know if I was losing grip or if I just was kind of rattled a little bit and just didn't feel like I could feel the grip as much. And, you know, I pay the price. Tony gets through on me. He was sitting there stalking me the whole time. I don't even think I knew he was so close. And at this point, I was like, oh man, I just really hope there's not other people through there, or right behind him. There's another one. Man, I could not keep that bike under me. So at that point, I was just like, please, just not too many turns left. Let's just bring this one in. I thought at this point I was out of the podium, but I wasn't really sure. Yeah, going way slow, going wide to that good line. I was almost looking behind me too because I thought I could hear other people. And I'm just creeping through this corner. And man, yeah, I just like, man, I don't even get on the gas there. It's brutal. But checkered flag is out. No one's passing me. Get across the finish line and ended up in third place for that one. Tony took second away. That was a good job, man. That was a good race. Hunting down like that. And I think on that one, he had actually, I think it was the last lap there. One of the second to last lap or something. He ended up turning like a 2:16 or something, which I know sounds not great, but like in the rain, I think that was one of the fastest times for the wet races there. Certainly within amateur class, but overall that was super quick laps and well done on his part. I was not touching that time. Not on this race, not on any other races in the rain, that's for sure. Cool, well, stick around. I'm going to do the 1,000 sprint race, which was also in the rain. So if you want to watch that one, that's up next.